Hey guys, this is Kerbal, and today you join me just off the runway with my current Airforce. Yes, this is a Collaborative Warfare extra video, and I'm taking a look at my current upgraded Airforce. I've added 3 new planes and removed one to hopefully give me a more well-rounded Airforce. So I'm just going to take a look at them all here. This would probably be very foolish because there's going to be quite a lot of lag while looking at these planes. But, whatever, I thought it would be nice just to have them all here. So, might as well start over here? Yeah, it's weird. I've launched them in a weird order. Anyway, this is my new giant cargo plane. It probably doesn't look that dissimilar from the HAP Mark III Fortress, but this is the HAP Mark IV Titan, and it will be totally taking over from the HAP Mark III. So the HAP Mark III will be retiring because it's no longer useful, because this is actually scaled up. These are 5-meter parts. I kind of wish I had this in the spaceplane hangar right now, because you'd be able to see the HAP Mark III above it. But yes, you can kind of get the idea that this is a 2.5 meter cockpit, and this is a 3.5 meter adapter, and this is just a giant cargo bay, because I need a bigger cargo bay than the current ones. So these are scaled up to 5 meters, which means they can get 3.5 meter tanks inside them. Currently it's loaded up with a bunch of bombs, which again was probably dumb considering I have a bunch of stuff on the runway right now, but yeah. This is currently 30 bombs. It could carry a lot more if I put them in a less stupid way, but yeah, you get the idea that this could easily drop just a hell of a lot of carpet bombs on there. It could also drop a lot of cluster bombs, which are quite big, and if I really need to, it could drop some pretty serious nuclear payloads, if that ever comes up. Looking at you, Penguin. But yeah, it could also drop a lot of probes, maybe tanks. Just, it's made to really take over the cargo plane sort of thing, slash strategic bomber, since it's not particularly good at tactical movement, but it can drop a lot of bombs. It does have flares for dodging missiles, though. Anyway, the rest of the weapon systems are kind of vaguely AC-130-like. We've got these aren't particularly AC-130. These are actually left over from the HAP Mark III, basically. Front and back-facing 20mm rotary cannons. These are for shooting down chase planes and things, just if we're if we're running away from planes, basically. Hopefully we'll be able to shoot them down. And its other weapons are these 30mm cannons for shooting down things on the ground. These can rotate quite a lot, so they can shoot most stuff. And also there's the these howitzers, which are, I think, 100mm cannons, which are for just basically circling a target and just destroying everything. Unlike the HAP Mark III, which was powered by 6 jet engines, this is powered by 2, but they're scaled up, so they have about 8 times the thrust of one of these engines. No, 4 times the thrust of one of these engines, so it's more than sufficient for moving this at relatively high speeds. But yeah, that's pretty much all of this plane. It's got a pretty decent wing setup, and carries 4 crew, and I think that's, yeah, about it. So, let's move on. I actually want to move across. No, let's look at the other bomber. That makes some sort of sense. This has been seen once in a video. Some of the missiles just fell off for no reason. I think it was just because there's a lot of stuff around. But yes, this is my tactical bomber. It's highly maneuverable, can actually dogfight if I needed, and yeah, is made for being maneuverable and dropping bombs on multiple targets. It'll be dropping missiles more than bombs. It carries 18 Hellfire missiles and has a cargo bay in which you can put any kind of bombs, but right now it's loaded up with 3 Maverick missiles, which are quite heavy hitters. It would be nice to carry a few more of these, but yeah, I mean, still, this is pretty insane. It can actually defend itself. It could take off and fight a plane. It probably wouldn't be particularly successful, given that it's quite large, but it has pretty serious wings, so yeah, and also these kind of little wings in these little flaps in the middle, I think, look quite nice and provide some good roll. But yeah, there's not a huge amount else to say other than, you know, it's got these. Oh yeah, it also has missiles back here for shooting down chase planes. Usually my bombers do have that because it's hard to outmaneuver a fighter, so it's better just to shoot them from behind. Anyway, moving on. What do we got next? I'll save that till later. Okay, here is the. Oh no, that's not right. Okay, this is the HSI Mark I. You've seen it before, so I won't spend too much time on it. I talked about the, it's called the Banshee. I think it's currently called the Dragon because it's the prototype version. But anyway, yeah, this is the HSI Mark I. You've seen it a bunch of times. It's basically an interceptor, and it can carry, well, 2 Sidewinder missiles, and I often put hardpoints here for ground strike missiles. This is being mostly replaced by the HSI Mark II. However, it will be remaining in my Airforce mostly for base defense because it's very good at defending, at being flown by the AI pilot. The AI pilot's very good at using like fixed cannons and things. So it'll be mostly doing that and maybe some air superiority missions, but probably not a huge amount since it only has a single engine, which if you lose, you're screwed. So let's move on to the HSI Mark II because you've seen this enough times. That's not the right way. Here we go. This is the HSI Mark II. We'll be taking over most of the roles. Now, most of the fighting roles of the HSI Mark I. I know it never actually saw any air combat, but that might be changing quite soon. So this is my current air superiority fighter. It has one of these Vulcan cannons, which I find as a human is much easier to use for shooting things because you can point them rather than having to point the whole plane. And the AI, I think the AI is actually better with fixed guns, so that's why I've left them on the HSI Mark I. It also carries far more missiles. It has 3 hard points for varying missiles. This hard point here is usually AMRAAM missiles, which are quite good for long range air combat. And then sidewinders into Hellfire missiles. These Hellfires could be traded out for sidewinders. This hopefully won't be doing any ground attack, but if it needed to, if I had a shortage of resources, it could, of course, because I mean it's not hugely different from firing sidewinders. But it is mostly just for dogfighting. It's designed pretty much with that in mind. It has, it's still stable, but it's on the edge of being stable, so it is highly agile. Even I've designed it in just such a way that it will hopefully be as agile as possible, including just putting these wing surfaces at a tilt so that they provide more lift and pitch authority. It has big control surfaces, and these wing surfaces, these canards at the front for just pushing it through the air more effectively. There's not a huge amount else to say. I mean, 20mm gun, lots of missiles, ramjet engines. It goes very fast, and obviously it has a twin jet engines. So basically, if I lose one, I can remain in the fight. But yeah, this also is incredibly long range. I can't actually show you that. I've turned the UI off. But yeah, it carries a lot of fuel, so it can go really far, and so it's a very long-range, possibly bomber fighter, whereas the HSI will be taking on mostly an interceptor role. I forgot to say that, but it's going to actually become more of an interceptor, because high-speed interceptor doesn't really make sense for these current situations, but the HSI Mark I is mostly just for shooting down Penguin's bombers as they come in, so that he just can't really use them, because this is all part of Operation Game Changer, by the way, this new strategy I'm trying out. Basically, Penguin has been able to rule with impunity, been able to fly his bombers around and destroy a lot of things, like the whole Empav Raptor incident, where he was able to destroy my Empav Raptors so easily, because they actually just can't fight with the AI, which kind of sucks. So, pretty much all my new planes can defend themselves, obviously not the giant cargo plane. But the interceptor will hopefully stop that, and this can obviously dogfight with the AI and hopefully also stop that. So anyway, let's just move on because I've probably talked for too long. The Empav Raptor, you've seen this so many times, you don't even really need to look at it. Basically just my standard VTOL, but I will just again talk about what it will be doing since the HSI's stepping down its role. This will probably be very rarely used anymore, but I am keeping it because it's very long range, which is nice. And it's going to be basically just used for long range bombing runs. It is now just a light bomber. It was sort of a fighter bomber before, but since it can't really fight very well, there's no point in putting it into that kind of engagement where it will definitely lose. So yeah, it will just be occasionally used for very long range bombing runs where I need to maybe land vertically, because that's its main thing, it lands vertically. Alright, and the last plane on the roster, my favourite plane, is the Empav Mark II SABER. Yes, this is my new multi-purpose aerial vehicle, that's what Empav stands for, and it's the Mark II, and its name is SABER. Oh, okay, sorry, I thought I was getting a call, it was just a Snapchat. Anyway, okay, sorry, totally threw me off. Anyway, yeah, you can probably see the more plainly people of view, this is vaguely reminiscent of the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter, and it is indeed a VTOL, so it is quite F-35y, except it has 2 engines, so it solves the problem of just having 1 engine. It's actually very maneuverable. Basically, in vague looks, it looks a bit like the Lightning II, the F-35, but it really ends there. It's actually a very good plane. It is a VTOL, and you may be thinking, wait, but it only has 2 VTOL engines. How can it take off? It looks pretty heavy. Oh, that is because I'll actually need this back. It actually has a lifter fan. Yes, if I open this up and keep the throttle off. There we go, look at that shit, that's a lifter fan, yeah. That's an inline lifter fan, so it can do lifter fan things. Okay, hey, so as a really quick aside, sorry, I totally forgot to mention in the main video, so now I'm in the post-commentary. So yeah, basically that lifter fan, which I really should have mentioned, has a much better thrust-to-weight ratio than the normal jump jet engines. So the whole VTOL thing on here is much lighter than the whole VTOL thing on the Empire Raptor, which makes it much better even though it's a much heavier plane. So yeah, that's awesome. Anyway, back to the main video, which means it can do vertical takeoff and landing very easily, and STOL. However, this being in the airframe does mean it has to have a similar sort of airframe as the Empire Raptor, except it can't really slope round like this because of the new cockpit, although the cockpit does have its air intakes on it. But yes, this is my fighter, bomber, multi-role, everything, joint strike fighter, does everything, kills everything quite well. Probably won't ever carry AMRAAMs because it has quite serious like kind of weight capacity issues. Not issues, just it's best not to put too much mass on here, because it is a VTOL and you don't want to change the center of mass too much. But yeah, it carries Sidewinders and Hellfires. Its main guns are these 30mm rotary cannons, not rotary cannons, turrets. I only actually wanted one because I thought it looked cooler, because this looks kind of dumb. But basically, the main problem with having one is it moves the center of mass slightly across, and this aircraft isn't as stable as some of my other aircraft, so it has the problem of it induces quite an annoying roll, which isn't a problem most of the time, but when you're in like a high-speed maneuver, it can cause your control systems to basically lock up, actually, is what I found. So, yeah, I put 2 on, and it means I don't have the kind of blind side over there as well. These probably... Yeah, arming this aircraft was actually a really hard job. Initially I went for fixed cannons. Well, no, initially I went for the Vulcan turret, because that seems like the best idea. And it is on most planes, actually, but it just wouldn't work for me. I just couldn't score any kills with guns. Then I tried fixed cannons, and it doesn't really work with fixed cannons either. I've had lots of success switching this out for a fixed cannon, so I can't like point it, I just have to point the aircraft. But on this, that just didn't work. So I went for these. They're just, I don't know, I found them better. I'm not entirely sure why, I'll be looking into that, but I just find them much better for dogfighting with this particular aircraft. There's not a huge amount else to say, it's just the new high-speed VTOL, and this can be controlled by the AI flight computer, which I will put on soon, which means that this can defend itself on the ground, so it is another part of Operation Game Changer, which will stop Penguin using his bombers so effectively to thwart just everything I do, because, yeah. So, good luck to him fighting all of this. But yeah, that is my Air Force. I am keeping a couple of planes around, getting rid of one. And yeah, hopefully this will win me the war. Although I did say that about the Empire Raptor, and it has become quite obsolete. So yeah, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. This has been KSP with Tape. I will see you next time.